Deep underground in an undisclosed location, this is Tread Comics presents Lost in Space. Lost in Space is an American science fiction television series created and produced by Irwin Allen, which originally aired between 1965 and 1968. The series was inspired by the 1812 novel The Swiss Family Robinson and a comic book published by Gold Key Comics titled Space Family Robinson. The series follows the adventures of the Robinsons, a pioneering family of space colonists who struggle to survive the depths of space. The show ran for 83 episodes over 3 seasons, the first of which were filmed in black and white. On October 16, 1997, the United States is gearing up to colonize space. The Jupiter 2, a futuristic saucer-shaped spacecraft, stands on its launch pad, undergoing final preparations. Its mission is to take a single family on a 5.5-year journey to an Earth-like planet orbiting the star of Alpha Centauri. The Robinson family consists of Professor John Robinson, played by Guy Williams, his wife Maureen, played by June Lockhart, their 3 children, Judy, played by Marta Kristen, Penny, played by Angela Cartwright, and Will, played by Billy Mumy. The family is accompanied by the U.S. Space Corps Major Donald West, played by Mark Goddard. The Robinsons and Major West are to be cryogenically frozen for their voyage, and they are set to be unfrozen when the spacecraft approaches its destination. Dr. Zachary Smith, played by the amazing Jonathan Harris, Alpha Control's doctor, is revealed to be a saboteur working on behalf of an unnamed nation. After disposing of a guard who catches him on board the spacecraft, Smith reprograms the Jupiter 2's B9 environmental control robot to destroy critical systems on the spaceship 8 hours after launch. Smith becomes trapped on board at launch, and his extra weight throws the Jupiter 2 off course, causing it to encounter asteroids. This, plus the robot's rampage, causes the ship to prematurely engage its hyperdrive, and the expedition becomes hopelessly lost in the infinite depths of outer space. Smith's selfish actions and lazy frequency endangers the expedition, but his role assumes less sinister overtones in the later part of the seasons. During Season 1, the astronaut family of Dr. John Robinson, accompanied by a pilot and a robot, set out in the year 1997 from an overpopulated Earth, the spaceship Jupiter 2, to travel to a planet circling the star Alpha Centauri. The Jupiter 2's mission is sabotaged by Dr. Zachary Smith, an agent for an unnamed foreign government, who slips aboard the spacecraft and reprograms the robot to destroy the ship and crew. However, Smith is trapped on board, and his excess weight alters the craft's flight path and places it directly in the path of a massive meteor storm. Smith managed to save himself by prematurely reviving the crew from suspended animation. The ship survives, but the damage caused by Smith's earlier saboteur of the robot leaves the crew lost in space. The Jupiter 2 crash lands on an alien world, later identified by Will Robinson as Prelopis, where they spend the rest of their season and survive a host of adventures. Smith remains with the crew and acts as a source of comedic cowardice and villainy, exploiting the eternally forgiving nature of Professor Robinson. At the start of the second season, the repaired Jupiter 2 launches into space once more to escape the destruction of Priplanus, following a series of cataclysmic earthquakes. The Robinsons crash land on a strange new world to become planet-bound again for another season. In the third season, a format change was introduced. This season features the Jupiter 2 traveling freely in space, visiting a new world in each episode as the family attempts to either return to Earth or at least reach one of their original destinations in the Alpha Centauri system. A newly built space pod provides a means of transportation between the ship and passing planets, allowing for various escapades. This season had a different set of opening credits and a new theme tune, which had been composed by John Williams as part of the show's new direction. Props and monsters were regularly recycled from other Irwin Allen shows. A sea monster outfit that had been a feature on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea might get a spray paint job for its Lost in Space appearance, while space monster costumes were reused on Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea as sea monsters. The clear round plastic pen holder used as a control surface in the episodes regularly turned up throughout the show's entire run, both as primary controls to activate alien machinery or open cage doors or cages, and as a background set dressing. Some primary controls were seen used in such episodes as Season 1's The Keeper, His Majesty Smith, and Season 3's A Day at the Zoo and The Promised Planet. Spacecraft models were also routinely reused. The foreboding ship from Season 1 was redressed to become the Vera Castle in Season 3. The fuel barge from Season 2 became the Space Lighthouse in Season 3. Decrepit ships were used again and again in Season 3 with a simple color change. Likewise, the alien pursuer ship in the Sky Pirate was lifted from the 1958 film War of the Satellites and was reused in the episode The Deadliest of Species. Despite being credited as a special guest star in every episode, Smith became the pivotal character of the series. The show's writers expected Smith to be a temporary villain who would only appear in the early episodes. Harris, on the other hand, hoped to stay longer on the show, but he found his character to be boring and feared it would also quickly bore viewers. Harris began rewriting his lines and redefining his character by playing Smith in an all-attention-getting, flamboyant style and ad-libbing his scenes with colorful, pompous dialogue. By the end of the first season, the character of Smith is established as a self-serving coward. These character traits are magnified in subsequent seasons. His haughty bearing and ever-present repertoire were staples of the character. Lost in Space is remembered for the robot's oft-repeated lines such as "Warning, warning," and "It does not compute." Smith's frequent put-downs of the robot were also popular, and Jonathan Harris was proud to talk about how he used to lie in bed at night dreaming them up for use on the show. "You bubble-headed booby, cackling cactophone, tin-plated traitor, blithering blatherskate, and traitorous transistoride toad" are all but a few alongside his famous trademark lines, "Oh, the pain, and "Never fear, Smith is here." One of Jonathan Harris's last roles was providing the voice of the illusionist praying mantis Manny in Disney's A Bug Life, in which Harris used "Oh, the pain," near the end of the film. The catchphrase "Danger, Will Robinson" originates with this series when the robot warns young Will Robinson about impending threats. It was also used as a slogan of the 1998 movie Lost in Space, whose official website had the address DangerWillRobinson.com. In 1962, Gold Key Comics, a division of Western Publishing Company, began publishing a series of comic books under the title Space Family Robinson. The story was largely inspired by the Swiss Family Robinson, but with a space-age twist. The movie and television rights to the comic book were then purchased by noted television writer Hilda Boehm, who created a treatment under the title Space Family 3000. Intended as a follow-up to his first successful television venture, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Irwin Allen quickly sold his concept for a television series to CBS. Concerned about confusion with the Gold Key comic book, CBS requested that Allen come up with a new title. Nevertheless, Hilda Boehm filed a claim against Allen and CBS television shortly before the series premiered in 1965. Additional legal challenges appeared in 1995 when Prelude Pictures announced their intention to turn Lost in Space into a motion picture. The show was conceptualized in 1965 with the filming of an unaired pilot episode titled No Place to Hide. The pilot of the pilot episode followed the mission of a ship called Gemini 12, which was to take a single family on a 98-year journey to an Earth-like planet orbiting star Alpha Centauri. The Gemini 12 was pushed off course due to an encounter with an asteroid, and the story centered on the adventures of the Robinson family, depicting them as a happy crew without internal conflicts. While many storylines in the later series focused primarily on Dr. Zachary Smith, a stowaway and saboteur played by Jonathan Harris, he was absent from the unaired pilot. His character was added to the series after it was commissioned for production. The pilot episode was first aired on television during a 1997 retrospective on Lost in Space. CBS bought the series, turning down Star Trek in favor of Lost in Space. Before the first episode was filmed, the characters Smith and the robot were added, and the spaceship, originally named Gemini 12, was renamed the Jupiter 2 and redesigned. For budget considerations, a good part of the footage included in the pilot episode was reused, being carefully worked into the early series episodes. The first season emphasized the daily adventures of the Robinsons. The first half of season 1 dealt with the Robinsons' party trekking around the rocky terrain in stormy inland oceans to avoid extreme temperatures. However, the format of the show later changed to a quote-unquote monster of the week style, where stories were loosely based on fantasy and fairy tales. In January of 1966, ABC scheduled Batman in the same time slot as CBS's Lost in Space. To compete, Lost in Space Season 2 imitated Batman's campy humor to compete against that show's enormous success. Bright outfit, over-the-top action, and outrageous villains came to the fore in outlandish stories. Stories given all characters' focus were sacrificed in favor of a growing emphasis on Dr. Zachary Smith, Will Robinson, and the robot. According to Billy Mumy, Mark Goddard, and Guy Williams, both disliked the shift away from serious science fiction. The third season had more straight adventure, with the Jupiter 2 now functioning and hopping from planet to planet, but the episodes still tended to be whimsical and to emphasize humor, including fanciful space hippies, more pirates, offbeat intergalactic zoos, ice princesses, and Lost in Space's beauty pageant. During the first 2 seasons, episodes concluded in a live-action freeze, anticipating the following week with a cliffhanging caption, To be continued next week, same time, same channel. For the third season, each episode's conclusion was immediately followed by a vocal teaser from the robot, warning viewers to stay tuned for scenes from next week's exciting adventure. Scenes from the next episode were then presented following the closing credits. After cancellation, the show was successful in reruns and in syndication for many years, appearing on the USA Network and on FX, Sci-Fi, and Hulu. In early 1968, while the final third season episode, Junkyard in Space, was in production, the cast and crew were informally led to believe the series would return for a fourth season. Allen had ordered new scripts for the coming season. A few weeks later, however, CBS announced a list of returning television series for the 1998-1969 season, and Lost in Space was not included. CBS executives failed to offer any reason why Lost in Space was canceled. The most likely reason the show was canceled was its increasing high cost. The cost per episode had grown from $130,000 during the first season to $165,000 during the third season, while the actors' salaries nearly doubled during that time. Further, the interior of Jupiter 2 was the most expensive set for a television show at a cost of $350,000. 20th Century Fox also had recently incurred huge budget overruns for the film Cleopatra, which are believed to have caused budget cuts. Allen claimed the series could not continue with a reduced budget. During a negotiation conference regarding the series' direction for the fourth season with CBS Chief Executive Bill Paley, Allen was furious when told the budget would be cut by 15% from season 3. The Lost in Space Forever DVD cites declining ratings and escalating costs as the reason for cancellation. Irwin Allen admitted that the season 3 ratings showed an increasing percentage of children among the total viewers, meaning a drop in the quote-unquote quality audience that advertisers preferred. Guy Williams had grown embittered with his role on the show as it became increasingly campy in seasons 2 and 3, while centering squarely on the antics of Jonathan Harris's Dr. Smith character. Williams retired to Argentina after the end of the series.